The question, though, is the GOAT a quarterback? Because, like, these other positions like receiver and defensive players and
It ain't
running
mine
backs,
and what I picked.
Is Brady the GOAT in yours, or did you pick somebody else?
Nope. I didn't even pick
Who'd you
quarterback.
pick? Who'd you go, Doc?
I went with the legend Jerry Rice.
All About the Balls podcast with Mark Davis, Chris Meinhardt, Luke Rule, and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Hello and welcome to this Miami Heat stole Game 2 of the NBA Finals, and now the NBA Finals is tied at 1 apiece, heading back to South Beach episode of All About the Balls podcast. I'm your host, Mark Davis, live and excited from the Sack House, joined alongside, as always, usually 3 great co-hosts, but I will settle for 2 of those 3 co-hosts as I'm joined alongside Mr. Luke Rule and Mr. Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Boys, as you can tell, and you can hear my voice, I had a hell of a weekend. The Miami Heat stole Game 2, put those fucking brooms away. There will be no sweep. Luke, how are you doing this weekend and tonight, my friend?
No, I'm doing great, celebrating the weekend a little long today.
Nothing wrong with that, brother. Nice
Monday off,
margaritas.
taking the rest of the week off. Yeah, we got a whole margaritas on deck tonight.
Hell yeah! What's the key ingredient in the margarita tonight?
Oh, it's the tequila. Yeah,
the tequila.
Yeah, tequila.
And can't believe you had to ask that question, Mark.
Yeah,
Doc, I know you're not
only ingredient matters.
Yep.
And Doc, I know you're not on the margarita train, but I know you're having a great night. Tell me that you had a great weekend as well.
Oh, fantastic weekend. Just relax with the family. Nice to see Miami actually come out and shoot more than 30% from the field. So that was a nice change of pace. Jimmy Buckets, I didn't see I don't remember what his final line was, but I'm pretty sure he shot better than his normal 10%, his 3 for 70. So that was good as well. But other than that, can't complain, man.
Yeah, and speaking of Miami, Doc, Jimmy had 21, but more importantly, they stole Game 2 out there in Denver. Now they'll be traveling back to Miami for Wednesday's game, where Game 3 is honestly, I think, a pivotal game for the Miami Heat. Don't want to fall down 2-1 because then Game 4 is a must-win. We'll reach that topic when we break down Game 3. But, Doc, Miami stole Game 2. What was the difference between Game 2 to Game 1 for Miami as they did win 111 to 108?
Execution first and foremost. Like I said, Miami actually came out shooting the ball well. Max Strus had an unbelievable start to the game. Vincent was just lights out all game long, putting that team on their back. Adebayo took a little bit to get going, I think, but not a bad game from him by any means. I mean, you look at his performance from Game 1, it kind of looks like a step back, but overall, I mean, that's about what you expect from Bam. That's what I'm looking for. So just seeing the difference coming out and playing just better all-around basketball.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Doc. Like you said, execution is the key. I felt like coaching was a lot bigger. I think Spoelstra had the boys ready to go. They went more of a zone, forcing Joker to get the ball above the free throw line, because if you do that, you force those passing lanes out. If you let him touch the ball while you're in a zone underneath the rim, he could pass all day. If he's getting triple-doubles, it's going to be hard to stop him. But, hey, they're 0-3 when Joker scores 40. And Luke, Jimmy did not eat butts this game. Is this the Jimmy that we're going to get for the remainder of this series, or is they going to start to fall back and Jimmy's going to start to become a little more inconsistent? And do you think the Nuggets still going to win the series?
So this is just the NBA following the script over here. So, I mean, we're going to take it down to Game 7. They're just going to go flip-flop games all the way to Game 7. The Nuggets are going to take it. That's my next prediction now.
You went from a sweep to 7 games. I love it. After one game.
Yeah.
Doc.
Yeah, it's the NBA playing the system here. They want to get the extra money, the TV deals.
Every series goes 7.
Yeah, so it's either going to be a sweep or 7.
Oh, hey, man. Well, I'm okay with 7 because then that actually shows that Miami deserved to be in the series. And, Doc, do you think, though, like the same question, do you think Jimmy is going to start to get his groove back? He was a little more facilitating, still not as aggressive. For some reason, the last 7 games, he's kind of fallen off being aggressive, taking more free throws, which is where he lives normally. But do you expect Jimmy to start getting more aggressive as the series starts to progress, now going to Game 3?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, watching from Game 6 and Game 7 and seeing the early shooting troubles that he was having and watching him just dime the ball out, I mean, I've between the first 2 games of this series and the last 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm seeing a lot of shots that are Jimmy Butler shots, Jimmy bucket shots, and he's just not taking them. I don't know if he's afraid to shoot or if he's looking I don't know what his reason is. I mean, I get it with the poor percentage. I mean, even yesterday's game, he shot better than he has been, but still only, still less than 37% from the field, which is not helpful. But I don't know. He's got to step up. I think he's got to take charge of this team. I think he's got to be a leader, and that starts with not diming the ball out every time you drive or when you have open high percentage shots.
I will disagree with you on the leader part. He definitely seems to still be that vocal leader, that inspirational leader in the locker room, because he told Max Strus after game 1, dude, I don't give a shit if you're 0 for 10, 0 for 20. If you're open and I kick it to you, you fucking shoot the ball. And like you said, it showed off big. He had 4 threes in the first quarter, had 12 points, 12 big points as Miami was up 11 and then fell down 15, so that's a 26-point swing. Yeah, they were down 15, 26-point swing, but hey, it doesn't matter what happens in the second and third quarter. What happens is in the final score, which was Jimmy Butler also guarding Jamal Murray on what I thought was a dumb shot. I understand you don't have to call timeout. I'm okay with no calling timeout there from Mike Malone, but I think it's dumb that you ran all that 11 seconds off just to get a dumb 3 like that on a pick and roll where you shouldn't even use Joker because Joker is being guarded by their best player. So if you're going to pick and roll, you run with a guy that can't play as good defense as Jimmy. So just didn't like the shot. I'm okay with no timeout. Like they said, Miami did better in the half-court defense, so why not push it, maybe even get a quick 2, and then force it to be a 1-point game, and then force Miami to shoot threes. Doc, are you okay with him not calling timeout, though?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I mean, I thought that it was a forced low percentage shot from Murray. There was a couple other people that were open that had higher percentage open shots, but I mean, as one of the leading shooters on that team, obviously him and Jokic. And if I'm talking about needing a 3 ball, I'm going Murray over Jokic. Nothing against Jokic there. Murray's just got a smoother stroke, but yeah, I think a timeout maybe would have been beneficial to draw something up. You get the half court, even if Miami's playing better defense, you got a chance to at least draw it up to get open, so you're not forcing that shot up in traffic, off balance like Murray did.
And Luke, before we move on to talk about Game 3, the unsung heroes of the Miami Heat for this game were those undrafted players that we seem to keep talking about. Max Strus starting off the game big. Gabe Vincent been Mr. Consistent these 2 games, and then also Mr. Duncan Robinson just balling out, flexing on the Denver crowd out there. Not the biggest flex. The boy's little. I think he's smaller than you are, Luke. But he had 10 straight points, did his job, sat down in the fourth quarter, and then bam. Do you think these unsung heroes are going to keep balling, or do you think they're going to get back to where the spotlight's too big for them?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know why you're asking me this question. I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch game 1, really. I watched like the fourth quarter of the first game. So I have no clue, honestly.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take this one, Mark.
Yeah, I don't know why you're asking me basketball questions. I don't watch any basketball.
Yeah, I haven't either until the last 4 games. But no, from what I've seen, from what I've seen the last 4 games, I mean the undrafteds have been pulling a lot of weight. I don't know that I would call them necessarily. I mean, as a group, I would call them the unsung heroes. There's only one that I would call an unsung hero overall, and that's Vincent. Strus, consistency. Martin, consistency. Robinson, consistency. The only one really that's been consistent has been Gabe Vincent. Strus 0 for 10 in the last game. Even Vincent was. Or was it no Martin? Martin missed all the shots last game, right? Yeah, no, Martin was very ice cold last game.
It was Max Strus.
Somebody else was like 1 for 9.
Yeah, they were 1 for 17 combined between Martin and Strus.
Yeah. So I think it was him and Martin was the other one. So Robinson also, he's just got to get open. He doesn't really get the minutes, get the opportunity as much as he could. But also that's all I've seen Robinson really produce is a 3-point shot, as important as that is. I mean,
he's been driving the ball a lot lately, been cutting bandsmen.
Yeah, he did a lot better. He did a lot better driving in game 2.
And that's a lot
better footwork and coming off the dribble.
Those last 2 games, even in Boston, he started to show that, which is something rare because he's usually catch shooter. He'll fake you out and then step over, hit that 3. That's usually his game. But Tyler Hero's supposed to be back now. That brings me to the question, Doc, for game 3. If Tyler Hero does play, does he come off the bench because he hasn't played in 7 weeks?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Tyler Hero's a professional. I think he's ready for it. I think, especially going back with the consistency issues and everything else, I think that you've got to give him. I mean, you're putting everything on the line here. You know what I mean? I don't think that putting him in the starting lineup is going to be a downplay for you. He's a natural basketball player, so he knows what to do. The atmosphere might be a little bit different for him, but no, put him in the starting lineup. It's just going to bolster you, make you that much better. And try to come out with game 3 in Miami and get ahead.
I have to disagree a little bit. I think what Spoelstra did with putting K Love back in the starting lineup, he could put a body on Aaron Gordon and was also playing good defense on Michael Porter Jr., which seemed to have no offensive game, and that transitioned to no defensive game. I think
Trust me, I know.
Hero come off the bench, maybe split with Caleb Martin a little bit, and then put, like I said, because Hero's a little rusty. I want to see him get his game back, and then don't ruin what's going on with that starting 5 between them, because now with Love in there, you have Vincent who's balling out, and you can't sit Jimmy, obviously, Bam. It's just a key pivotal spot right now. And then maybe you can sit them over Strus, but Strus is still that bigger body where he's still going to try and play defense. Hero doesn't play that much defense. But, Doc, I want to hear your take. Game 3, like I said, I feel like it's more of a must-win for the Miami Heat. Who wins this game and why?
Yeah, definitely tough. I think even playing in Miami with that home field advantage, I think I'm still going Denver in this one. I think it's going to be closer than game 1 was. I think I'm going – I mean, this is basketball. If I got to pick a number, I think I'm going Denver 109, Miami 106.
Luke, I know you said now it's a flip-flop. Now you're going 7. Does Denver take game 3, or does Miami take game 3 so that game 4 isn't as much of a win for Miami, so that it puts that pressure on Denver a little bit, and they seem to play good under pressure?
Yeah, I'm going to take Denver here. They're just going to flip-flop all the way up, so they're evened up for game 7.
All right, yeah, I'm disagreeing, boys. I think that since this is much more of a must-win, I think Miami's going to come out, have a big offense efficiency game. They're going to come out guns blazing. Shout out to my boy John Morant on that one, and I just think that Miami's just going to win the game. I think it's going to be close. I think Joker's obviously going to get his. I'm okay with Jamal Murray getting his, but like I told my crew in my office, you got to stop the third guy through the 7 guy. You can't allow the whole team like they did in game 1 to get hot. So I'm okay with Jamal and Joker getting theirs, but I need to see more like Miami having those guys with 20-point games, have some more chemistry going like they did. And boys, something that broke the news today, Kyrie Irving has been pushing hard for the Mavericks to trade for LeBron, to pair him, LeBron James, and Luka in Dallas. Luke, since I know you don't watch the NBA that much, would this maybe draw your eye to actually start to pay a little more attention, because now you're pairing 3 superstars together?
Yeah, I probably watched a couple of highlights of the games, but I'm not going to tune into the games and watch them. I'll see what LeBron James can do at the Mavs if he goes to the Mavs. It'd be cool. I think LeBron James is going to take an easy year, maybe stay on the Lakers for a year, or retire for a year, then go hang out with his son wherever he gets drafted after that.
Doc, do you think that this is a better move for LeBron to be traded, because he can't sign there, be traded to the Dallas Mavericks, or would you rather see LeBron get Kyrie Irving to the Los Angeles Lakers, which he's been pushing for the last couple seasons?
Yeah, I'd rather see him go to the Lakers. I think this is kind of like, I don't know, it feels like more personal for LeBron to do this in Los Angeles. I feel like this is more important to him than just going anywhere and doing it. I would have a lot more respect for LeBron to see him actually stay on a team and win a championship versus going to a team that's built around to get a championship, like we saw in Miami, like we saw in LA, like we saw in his return to Cleveland. I would have a lot more respect if he stayed in Los Angeles. But LeBron's going to, I mean, it's not up to LeBron, so I'm not even going to give it to him. I mean, if he pushes for the trade to Dallas, he's going to get it. But, LeBron going to do what LeBron do, and that's go somewhere else to win, because he can't get a fucking team on his own team.
Mark Cuban's got the money to make it happen, too.
Oh, yeah. And Doc, I mean, like you said.
Big Shark Tank fan.
Oh, he's got the money to make it move.
Big Shark Tank fan.
Doc, I know you said
same.
Stay on a team. I think this Los Angeles Lakers, we gain a lot more respect because they got these guys that no one really thought of. Rob Pelinka did his job as a GM, definitely turned the franchise around. It was LeBron, Anthony Davis, who was playing with a bunch of guys that aren't superstars. So I think me and you, I mean, I know you're not a big LeBron guy, but I could definitely tell you gain a lot more respect for LeBron, trusting these young cats in the Los Angeles Lakers locker room and actually showing that, maybe they still have it. They made the Western Conference Finals. They get swept, but I think this would be better than him going to Dallas. I don't think LeBron, Luka, and Kyrie can not coexist, but I know LeBron and Kyrie can play together. I don't know if all three can because they're ideally the same player. Kyrie's a little smaller than Luka and LeBron.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's that homegrown kind of image for it. It's going to be nice to see them come to LeBron versus LeBron going to them again. I'll say it, but I don't know. I definitely would have a lot more respect. Plus, seeing what, and this is exactly when you talk about who the greatest of all time is. This goes a long way in what LeBron accomplished this year with the team that he had versus what he did in Miami versus what he did back in Cleveland. You know what I mean? This is a much better ride for him. This was much more enjoyable seeing him, as much as I still fucking hate LeBron. But I like him a lot better if he stays in LA and they don't fucking pack him with 12 superstars, give him an all-star team.
And I'm okay with them getting
Go out and get one. Earn one.
I'm okay with them getting Kyrie. I don't think adding Kyrie is it's not like building a mega team. It's okay to get a guy that you have chemistry with. You still pair him with those young rookie or those young players in Los Angeles. Wouldn't be mad at LeBron for getting Kyrie. Obviously, you want to add another player because these other teams do have a duo and a trio. And honestly, I just don't trust Anthony Davis to be that number 2 to LeBron anymore. He's too inconsistent, in my opinion. And
yeah,
with that being
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
With that being said, oh no, Doc, you go ahead, dude. No, go ahead.
No, go. It's transition. It's transition.
Hey, moving on.
Yeah,
Yep,
I know. We have a big segment at the end. I know we're just trying to get this done because we're on. Well, now we're on to your favorite talking point, the top 10 daily segment we have. Our last position group where we just strictly talk to positions.
No, we still got IDPs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We'll bring that back when Chris comes in, but. The last offensive players we have, the top 10 tight ends, got a big feeling that the number 1 tight end will be the same as usual. So all 4 positions that we address will have the same player. Luke's shaking his head. We're going to start with you, Doc. Number 10 tight end for this year's 2023 redraft fantasy season. Who do you have?
Number 10, I am going out of Cleveland, David Njoku. Production has been down recently, but I still like the guy with Deshaun Watson coming back for a full year. I think he's going to have a good part in the offense. He was kind of like the unknown that kind of took off in terms of tight ends and has been kind of consistent for the most part over the last several years. I like the guy from day one. He just needed to get involved, and he finally is or has been for the last few seasons. So I like Njoku at number 10 with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think he's a good move with the quarterback. I thought Baker kind of held him down. Baker's on a tight end quarterback. Luke, who do you have at number 10?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm going to go Pat Fryermuth with the Steelers. Finished tight end number 8 last season. His downside, he only had 2 touchdowns, but this will be his second year at Kenny Pickett playing. So I think he's going to be up a little higher on this.
Yeah, Doc, I agree with you, and so does Chris. Me and Chris both have – oh, I'm sorry, never mind. I lied. Me and Chris agree that number 10 is going to be Evan Ingram out of Jacksonville. Definitely, in my opinion, I can't speak for Chris. He just gave me his list, but I can speak on my behalf. Evan Ingram definitely took a big step in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson calling plays out there. Definitely a lot better than when he was with the Giants. The Jaguars seem to have a very sneaky, underrated wide receiver core, and that means a little more opportunity for Evan Ingram. I still think he was a little inconsistent last year. Yes, he was tight end 5, but that was due to big games, but he also had small games. So I like to see a little more consistency on a weekly basis, not just one big game here, a couple games sucks, and then another huge game. That's kind of how he finished that in my mind. Doc, number 9 for you, my friend.
Number 9, I'm going with the hometown Chicago Bears, Cole Kmet, and I'll tell you why. First season, obviously, his rookie year, did not get many targets at all, even less receptions, obviously. Just didn't really have a part in the game plan, even though he played all 16 games. Following season, we saw the targets more than double, up to 93, over 600 yards, but the problem was no touchdowns, right? So while we saw a little bit of a drop-off with the receptions and the yardage last season, we saw a huge uptick in 7 touchdowns for Cole Kmet, so really bringing the points in. And I think now with upgrading the line, getting some more passing targets. I think it's just going to spread the ball out. I think a lot of defense is going to be focused on Darnell Mooney and obviously DJ Moore. And I think it's going to open more opportunity for Cole Kmet to continue to build in this offense. I know when the Bears picked him up, they wanted this to be a long-term guy. They wanted to bring him in right and not overwhelm him and overdo him in the beginning, and they definitely took their time with him. But he showed what he can do if he can combine the yards, and now with the red zone threat that he possesses, sky's the limit for this guy, honestly.
Yeah, I love hearing you talk about your Bears because I definitely hear the excitement that you have this year. You actually think they're going to be worth a watch this year, and I also think that too. Luke, number 9 for you, my friend.
All right, Mark, you're going to like this one. I'm going to go Kyle Pitts at number 9 for me. So, rough year for him. His rookie year finished tight end number 33. He only had 2 touchdowns last season. But
Wait.
for him,
You said 33? He had over 1,000 yards as rookie. So, he was a sophomore last
yeah,
year.
he had 2 touchdowns last season.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what ESPN says. He's tight end 33. You check it if you want.
Well, last year he didn't play all year. He got hurt. His rookie year he was not 33. His rookie year he actually because this is his 3rd year.
No.
That's
2022 it says he played 11 games last season. 10 games.
All right.
Played 10 games last season. I think he's gonna be that dump off, that little safety net for Ritter when Ritter's getting fucking tackled, sacked every play. I mean, I don't think Ritter's gonna be throwing too many deep passes. I think Kyle Pitts plays kind of that wide receiver role as the tight end position. So he's going to get looks. They're going to want to throw him the ball. They drafted him in the 1st round a couple years ago. So, yeah. They're going to try to get him involved in the game.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a little low on my just by 1 spot. We'll talk about that in a minute. But Chris has got Njoku. Doc, the reason why I don't have Njoku in my top 10 is because I have at number 9 is the reason why Njoku got pushed out. I'm agreeing with you. Cole Kmet out of Chicago. I like what Chicago's doing there. I think adding DJ Moore, investing in the offensive line is going to give Justin Fields a little more confidence to throw the ball, which means the tight end's best friend to a young quarterback as well. Cole Kmet's going to open a lot of opportunity. He was also number 8 last year when it came down to the final rankings for ESPN. So definitely the sky's the limit. Yeah, he might fall down 1 spot, but you can get him at number 9, or you can give him as a number 9 tight end, which means you're going to fall in the middle of the draft, maybe like 10th round. That's a good steal, for my opinion. Doc, who's your number 8 tight end?
Number 8, I am going out of Jacksonville, Evan Ingram. Almost 800 yards last year, 4 touchdowns. The only thing I think might hold him back is there are some serious receiving weapons out there. So I think that that might hinder him a little bit. But I still like his involvement in the offense, and I like what Jacksonville did with him last year. So I'm looking more for the same and to see him strive.
Yeah, like I said, that's kind of the big thing on me too, is that they have so many weapons out there that could actually hurt them, but it could help them too. It's one of those hit or miss opportunities. Luke, number 8 for you.
Number 8 for me is going to be Dalton Schultz from Dallas. So he finished last year tight end number 10. He gets a solid amount of looks from Dak Prescott, very involved in the game. So he ended up having 5 touchdowns last season. I think he continues that path. Dallas doesn't have, they're not crazy at the wide receiver position. They have CeeDee Lamb and who else. So I think Dalton Schultz is going to fill up a lot of that role.
Luke, I need you to stay off the margaritas, my friend. Dalton Schultz is a Houston Texan. He
signed
signed
really?
in the offseason. Yeah, stay off the margaritas, my friend.
I still have him at number 10.
I'm okay with that. But like I said, a tight end,
I like the hot take.
He's still in Texas.
The way it works.
He's still in Texas. But CJ Stroud, young QB. CJ Stroud, young QB. We expect him to start. That's going to help him. You have that veteran tight end, like you said. Just kind of like why I like Cole Kmet. The young QBs could benefit off these tight ends, Luke. And I agree with you. I think it's a good take for CJ Stroud, not Dak Prescott. So
yeah, they also don't have a lot of the wide receiver position either. Pretty much everything I said still stands. He's going to get a lot of looks. Different quarterback, same state, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Chris has got a hot take at number 8. He's got Darren Waller out of the New York Giants. I can probably expect why. He's probably afraid that he's going to fall back just because of his injury history he's got. I think if he's healthy, that could be a higher ceiling for him. But, Luke, I'm going where you had number 9. I'm going Kyle Pitts. My number 8 spot. I think that Ritter's going to like to find him in London. It seems like the Atlanta Falcons have an NBA roster at the wide receiver and tight end position. Everyone's freakishly huge. I think we have a pretty decent O-line. I mean, we have one of the top guards with Christian Lindstrom. So I do think Ritter will have some time. We're going to see what he can do, actually a full season. But I like Kyle Pitts coming back. I think he'll be targeted more with Desmond Ridder than Marcus Mariota for sure. Doc, number 7 for you.
Yeah, number 7, I am going Dallas Goedert out of Philadelphia. I'd like to see him stay healthy this season, but in only 12 games last year, 700 yards, only 3 touchdowns. But honestly, there wasn't a whole lot of passing touchdown going on in Philly last year. But I like Goddard at number 7.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing. I think Luke could agree on that one. Injury history with Dallas Goedert is key, honestly. And Luke, who do you have at number 7?
Yeah. So my number 7 would be Evan Ingram. We've already talked about him. He had a good season last year, basically playing the wide receiver position as tight end. So he's going to get a lot of those dump off looks from Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, they do have more wide receiver talent there now this season. I still, one receiver goes down, guess who's going to be there? Evan Ingram. Reliable, big touchdown threat too. He had 4 touchdowns with him last season. So,
Yep. No, I like it. I had him at number 10 spot, so definitely agree that he's a top 10 tight end for the fantasy season. And me and Chris are agreeing at number 7. We have Pat Freiermuth out of Pittsburgh. I've honestly been starting to grow on this guy. I think I've had him I know I had him last year. I'm not sure about the rookie season, but he was very big when Ben was there, and he was starting to get a little consistent with Kenny Pickett. Question, though, is does Darnell Washington, the rookie tight end from Georgia, take a little bit of steals from him? Big body. But I still like Pat Freiermuth. I think he's a pretty good tight end. I think he's one of the more athletic tight ends in the league for sure. And I think the problem with him was he found a lot of times where he was not on the field when he needed to be. Hopefully Mike Tomlin can get him on the field when he needs to be, and that could help Pittsburgh in their offense a little bit. Doc, number 6 for you.
Number 6 for me, I am going with your number 7, Pat Freiermuth. Again, we just heard the explanation, so I won't go too deep into it. I don't think that the addition from the draft will take too much away because he's still going to get in and learn. Touchdowns obviously took a huge hit, but the targets went up. I think that they're very invested with this guy. I think they like what he's done in 16 games, almost 750 receiving yards. So you just got to continue on that upward trajectory, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah, it's just honestly it's going to fall solely on Kenny Pickett. How much confidence progression does he show going from year 1 to year 2? And as a full-time starter this year, he was not the starter coming into the season. So this is going to be a big season for them, honestly. Luke, number 6 for you, my friend.
yeah, I'm going to go Dallas Goedert here. So a lot of mouths to feed over in Philadelphia, but I still think he's going to be there. He's going to be open. So he had 69 targets on 59 receptions, 3 touchdowns, and he missed 6 games last season, 700 yards. I think he picks up from that last season. So he'll keep going on, keep rolling, and I think he'll be at least top 6 tight end, maybe top 5, sneak in there. Depends on how the offense plays out in Philadelphia.
And Goddard's only had 2 shortened seasons from injury, so I don't even know that I would call him being injury prone like I would with Waller.
The problem with Goddard last year was he got hurt for a lot of people's fantasy playoff push. So that's the part where it
late in the
hurt
season.
him. Yeah,
that's fantasy, dude.
Oh, it is.
Tough.
And I think,
Tough
but
game.
I do think Philly made the right decision getting rid of Zach Ertz and keeping Goddard, because obviously that was the question a few years ago. Do they keep both? How are they going to get rid of Ertz like that? I think Howie Roseman, one of the best GMs in the league, handled that situation right. Number 6 for Chris is George Kittle out of San Francisco. I think that's a hot take. I don't know if Kittle's going to be top 3, top 2, but having on the top 5, that is huge. I wish Chris was here. Oh, we didn't say why. Chris, shout out to you. I know you're taking care of the in-laws this week. Hopefully we get you back Thursday. But, yeah, George Kittle, that's just a big one, man. I don't know why 6. I have Darren Waller, and that's due just because of injury-related history. He keeps getting injured at the wrong times. I think he's one of the more freakish athletic tight ends in the league. I think Danny Dimes is going to love him out in New York, minus they don't have that many good receivers in my mind. So that opens up the opportunity for Darren Waller. But I'm only putting him at 6 due to the injury history. I just don't trust him to stay healthy. I think if you can get him as your 5 or 6 tight end in the league and it pans out where he's healthy, that's a steal. And he might end up being top tight end like 3 or 2 and behind Kelsey, obviously. But that's who I have 6. Doc, I saw you shaking your head. What's the problem, my friend?
Yeah, no, the injury history is significant with him. And we're not talking just a couple of games. We're talking significant amounts of time in a significant number of seasons. I don't even have Darren Waller in my top 10.
Hey, man. Whew.
I know that hurts because the guy has put up monster numbers. But when you're averaging like less than 50% of the season played,
and if you look at it, he's only had 2 good seasons in his whole career.
That's it. It's also the 2 full seasons that he played.
Yeah, and that's the thing is if
he plays a full season, he's going to get you numbers. But if I'm a betting man, I'm putting money down. I'm calling the over under is like do I want to say 9.5?
But he's also playing that tougher NFC.
9.5.
NFC East is a lot better the last year too, and the Dallas Cowboys have a top defense. The Eagles defense.
This started long before. This started.
Oh yeah. What I'm saying though is he's got to compete against that division now, and man, those boys hit out there in the NFC East. It seems like Doc.
Yeah.
Number 5 for you, my friend.
Number 5, little respect for Mark Davis. I'm going Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Atlanta. Just an absolute monster his rookie season, over 1,000 yards. I would like to see them target him more for the red zone. I would love to see some more touchdown opportunities for him. I'd also like to see him come down with the ball a little bit more. It's like close to 50% on his reception to target. But I mean, the yards per reception is great. I think with a full season, young quarterbacks, I think Kyle Pitts is the way for Atlanta.
Yeah, and I just think it's solely Mariota was not targeting the ball. Mariota's not a guy that you trust to throw the ball. I mean, I always don't trust Ritter, but we know Ritter's going to throw the ball way more than Mariota. Chris, by the way, agrees with you, Doc. Chris agrees with you. He's got Kyle Pitts at number 5. Kyle Pitts made his top 5 as well. Luke, who do you have number 5?
So my number 5 is going to be Darren Waller. So we talked about him. I have him as a hit or miss player. He plays a full season. He'll be probably within the top 3 tight ends. If he misses the season, he'll be top 30 wide receiver. Tight ends. So he's hit or miss. Risky move for a tight end pick. But if you hit, he could win your fantasy league for you.
Yeah, and I agree. That's the thing. If he's healthy, he might not be number 1, but damn sure he'll be number 2 or 3. My number 5 is Dallas Goedert out of Philadelphia. We've hammered it enough. They have a lot of weapons out there in Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. I think it opens the door for him with Jalen Hurts, having that chemistry with him a little better now. Jalen Hurts is way better than he was his rookie season, even his second season. Played like an MVP level quarterback last year. So this just opens the door for Dallas Goedert. You can't double team all these guys. So I think Dallas Goedert's top 5 tight end. Doc, number 4 for you in this year's redraft league.
Number 4 for this year, I am going George Kittle. I think that there's been too much of a drop-off in the overall production. We're seeing the targets even dwindle down for him, 15 games last year, and a second career low as far as targets per game. Yards still decent at 700 for a tight end. The touchdowns were phenomenal. That's why I got him up in number 4, is strictly the touchdowns. He had 11 scores last year alone. But I would like to see the targets come up. I'd like to see him bring that energy back like he did in 2018 and almost 1,400 receiving yards, and just kind of that attitude that he brought to the San Francisco 49ers. I'd like to see that come back. But I think now with CMC in the backfield, I think that's going to continue to take targets from George Kittle.
Yeah, that's why I just think Chris having Kittle at 6 was just – it's a hot take, but I don't agree with that. I'm more on your side, Doc.
He's still got potential to put up TE 2 or 3 numbers.
Yeah, and I'll break my reason when I get to Kittle in this redraft. Luke, number 4 for you.
So I'm going to agree with Doc here. I'm going Kittle at my number 4 spot too. I have Kittle as a hit or miss player, game to game, week to week. So either he's going to have 20-plus fantasy points for you, or he'll have like 2 or 3. So some games he balls out, some games he doesn't get any looks. And question mark at the QB position for this team as well. A lot of mouths to feed, wide receiver, a running back. So I don't know. A lot of mouths to feed in San Francisco. A lot of question marks on that team on the offensive side.
Yeah, and speaking of it, Chris got Dallas Goedert number 4. I'll touch on my number 4, which is George Kittle as well. I think the difference is Brock Purdy, which we're going to address the 49ers QB situation after this segment, of who we think is going to start, just because they have a little news out there in their camp. But I got George Kittle, and that's solely because Brock Purdy, once he took over that starting spot after Jimmy G got hurt, it was all good news for George Kittle. Yeah, he's a great blocker, probably the best blocking tight end in football, but damn sure he's one of the top receiving tight ends in the league as well. He could just be just as dynamic as Travis Kelce when he wants to be. I don't think he's better than Travis Kelce, but he can compete for that spot. Brock Purdy starting this year is the difference with George Kittle. I think George Kittle will be a top 4 tight end. Doc, number 3 for you.
Number 3, I am going TJ Hawkinson out of Minnesota. I mean, the guy was just electric after leaving Detroit. Bringing another receiving weapon to kind of take some of the pressure off of Justin Jefferson out there. And now with Thielen being gone, I think this opens the door. Big opportunity for Hawkinson to step up in a big way for this team. 6 scores last year, almost 1,000 receiving yards. I'm going Hawkinson. The number 2 and 3 were very difficult. It was a very tough. I honestly 2 or 3 I could put them either way, and we'll go over that next.
That's how I was too whenever I was doing my list. Luke, I have a feeling you're going to stick with Doc on this one. You got TJ at number 3.
Yes, I do. I got TJ at number 3. I mean, you can see the numbers once he moved over to the Vikings. Hey, dude balled out. He had a couple of 100-yard games with them, a couple of multi-touchdown games. So big playability. Adam Thielen's gone. I mean, everybody's going to double cover Justin Jefferson, so he's going to be wide open. Big body, sure hands. He'll get the job done for you. Like red zone threat too. I like Hawkinson.
Yeah, and me and Chris agree with both you boys. We got TJ Hawkinson at number 3. Like you said, Doc, I was back and forth between number 2 and 3, which I have a feeling that our top 3 for all 4 seems to be the same, unless Luke has that biased mindset, which we'll get to that in a couple seconds. But yeah, TJ Hawkinson out of Minnesota. Like you said, no Thielen. It's just JJ and Jordan Addison, the rookie from USC. So a lot of opportunity for TJ Hawkinson. He could actually be tight end 1 when it's all said and done, just because of the little threats they have out there besides JJ. Doc, number 2 for you.
Number 2 for me, I went Mark Andrews out of Baltimore. Last season, 15 games, almost 850 receiving yards. I mean, this guy has been 153 targets just 2 years ago. This guy has been like the backbone of the receiving core for the Baltimore Ravens. My only concern is bringing in OBJ and bringing in Zay Flowers and having guys to target. And then obviously, Lamar. I'm not even going to say Lamar running out of the backfield because he's been doing that. And Mark Andrews is still getting his. Heavily involved in the red zone, just a physical body tight end that you love to see. And with his play style and his ability to go up and get the ball, I mean, to still be able to average 15, 16 games a season is huge. He's a dependable guy. He's somebody, he had the one solid year in 21. I'll give him that. I mean, I wouldn't say that all the other, any of the other years were mind-shattering or earth-shattering. But I definitely think a phenomenal tight end, reliable guy, easily. I mean, like I said, between him and Hawkinson, both of them easily, you could take a number 2.
Luke, you going with your boy out of Baltimore, number 2?
Yeah, Mark Andrews going to be my number 2. Same thing, everything Doc said. So, yeah, he started 15 games, but he didn't finish all 15 games. So he had a couple injury concerns last season. And addition, a couple new wide receivers for Baltimore. Honestly, I think that frees him up a little bit just because he was the number 1 wide receiver for Baltimore last season. So I think Zay Flowers and OBJ, that'll probably take a little pressure off of him having to get the ball that many times or get targeted that many times per game. So I think that'll free him up a little bit in the red zone and down the field. Dude can take deep passes down the middle. He can take screens, or he can just take a regular slant or anything like that. So he can do it all. Basically, similar play style of Travis Kelce in the tight end position. Basically, that big wide receiver, and Lamar's gonna be his safety net for this year.
Yeah, me and Chris agree with you guys. Number 2 is Mark Andrews. He finished tight end number 4 last year with that shortened year and Lamar going down and Snoop Huntley coming in. So, I mean, Mark Andrews is probably the second most heavily security blanket in the NFL behind our number 1 tight end, which, I mean, I don't think we're going to argue about it. It's probably the most deadliest weapon, honestly, in the NFL. You can even make He's more deadly than any NFL wide receiver, and that's Travis Kelce. Dude is a fucking
Taysom
animal.
Hill.
I mean, yeah. I mean, hey, Taysom Hill was number 9 last year, tight end. But yeah, Travis Kelce, boys. I mean, the man does it all. We're about to see him in a golf match with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson as they battle Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. Go Mahomes and Travis Kelce, by the way. But yeah, the Duke can do it all. He can also even escort Mr. Joe Biden off the stage, and he tries to take over the White House podium. I don't know if y'all saw that today. Travis Kelce can do it all.
Yeah, if Kelsey's there past pick 6, fucking take him.
Yeah, Travis Kelce, obviously over 1,000 yards since 2016, heavily involved in the red zone game. I wouldn't even say the red zone game because the guy could punch it in from 60 yards. So yeah, if you're not taking Kelce when he's up there, yeah.
And the question sorry, Luke, go ahead.
No, I'm saying it's not even close between Kelsey and the rest of the tight ends in the league. I think every other tight end, no other tight end had more than 5 touchdowns last season. Kelsey had 12. Kelsey also had 1,300 receiving yards on 110 receptions.
Kittle had 11, but
Kittle had 11.
But the thing, Luke, is with Travis Kelce might not even get to me at number 9. And if he does get to me at number 9, I mean, I might have to take him. If he falls a Doc at 12, I know Doc's grabbing him. I mean, that's a good swap right there. Travis Kelce, and you can go whichever running back receiver you want at the first pick of the second round. But if Travis Kelce's there at 9, I mean, I'm definitely I'm probably taking that to 5 seconds left on the clock, and I'm looking at all my options. Who can fall to me? Which position do I want to take the hit on? Receiver or running back?
No, I'm taking him. He puts up better numbers than a lot of receivers. I'm taking him.
Yeah,
if I can plug a tight end hole with that, I'm taking it.
Yeah. Luke, if he slips out of the top 5, you have to take him.
Luke, take him at number 1.
Hey, we'll see. You never know what's going to happen.
But that's our top 10 tight ends. That was a lot quicker than the other ones. I think tight ends just a little quicker we can talk about. But one thing I want to address for NFL before we talk about our new segment for the viewers and listeners is we didn't get to it last time is the 49ers, Brock Purdy, started throwing the ball. They're very well impressed. The question is, I'll start with you, Luke. When it comes down to it, week 1, who is the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers? Will Brock Purdy be ready and start, or will it be Trey Lance or Sam Darnold?
Honestly, I mean, they invested a first-round pick on Trey Lance. I think they're going to try to ride him until he gets injured again. If he gets injured again, he's probably done with the team. But I think they have to try Trey Lance again. He got one decent game, water game, where he couldn't even show anything. Then he got hurt the next week. So they have to try him again.
Doc, do you agree with Luke? Do they have to ride with Trey Lance, who it seems those draft picks I think they got for him, they're all said and done. Like, those draft picks are now relevant. They're all been used. Do you think that they go Trey Lance?
Yeah, I think they go Trey Lance. I don't think that they have to or that they're looking at it one way or the other. I think you just got to give the guy a real opportunity. I mean, he was back and forth with Jimmy G, got hurt, came in the following year, was supposed to be his year from the start, got hurt, in very shitty field conditions too. Actually, it was the second game that he got hurt, right?
Yeah, it wasn't
the
first game.
The first game was the water game.
Yeah.
Right?
So, yeah, second game, but guy never really got a chance. I don't think he's got many more chances left, but I think San Francisco needs to know what they can truly get out of him, out of his season, to know if they're ready to make that decision. And quite frankly, I'm not sold on Purdy yet. I think it's honestly let the boys play for the position and see who gets it.
Honestly, I think any quarterback you put back there is going to excel. The weapons they have is on their offense is pretty top tier in the NFL.
I mean, I honestly think Sam Darnold can literally lead that team. I'm not saying he's going to win the Super Bowl, but I think he can manage that team like Purdy did at the end of the season and get them deep in the playoffs. I think with that weapons, like you said. But I'm unfortunately, boys, going to disagree with you on that one. I'm going to go with the name that Luke Rule coined. I'm going Big Cock Brock. The general manager from the 49ers, John Lynch, has said that Brock Purdy is unquestionably the leader of that locker room when healthy. Obviously, he doesn't make that decision. That'll be a Kyle Shanahan decision. But I do think if Purdy's healthy and he's ahead of schedule and he's ready to throw for week 1, he's going to be the quarterback. The dude looked good last year in the season where he was playing. He looked good in the playoffs. Unfortunately, got hurt early against the Eagles. We don't know what would have happened if he was there. But I'm not a huge fan of Brock Purdy. But I think with this system they got going on and the confidence he had last year, Shanahan's going to ride with him if he's healthy. So With that being said, does anyone got any last thing they want to talk about with the 49ers or the NFL? All right.
That's it.
So last episode, we started a brand new segment. Previously, we named it the Listener's Mail. But thanks to one of our dedicated viewers and listeners out there, the Listener's Mail segment has been upgraded and now a new name change thanks to Mr. Zach Rizlov. It is now called the Listener's Load. And simply that, boys, means is the viewers and listeners will provide us a conversation starter. It can be sports, anything beyond sports as well that we want to talk about, debate about, literally have a conversation about, and we will unload our opinions on the viewers and listeners and give our intake on this. Last week we had the best sports movie. Luke had a fucking phenomenal job giving us a nice reason why The Longest Yard was number one. I know Doc has been watching that movie nonstop all weekend. Now,
Repeat.
Yeah,
The shit's
repeat.
on
Just
loop.
keep that going.
Longest Yard on loop. Hey, pay Adam Sandler that money. He earned it.
God, dude, did he ever. But this week, unfortunately, we're talking episode or a topic that me and Chris both said we just can't absolutely stand, and that is the greatest of all time in each major sport. It seems like we're going to disqualify NCAA. I mean, we can maybe mention a name if we want to, but we're going to talk major sports. We're going to talk the NHL, which me and Luke don't have a huge ton of knowledge in, but we're going to try and throw a name out there. We're also going to talk NBA. Luke's going to throw probably the most basic name out there. Understandable, you don't watch basketball. Me and Doc are going to get baseball pretty covered, and we all got NFL as we all watch that. So we're going to save the NFL for last. It's the best sport. Let's talk NHL. Let's get the worst out of the way. Doc, you are the hockey pro. Who do you have as the hockey GOAT?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about hockey goats, there's only one name, and it's synonymous across all true hockey fans. If you are going with anybody else, I mean, you just don't have an idea of what you're talking about. Wayne Gretzky is the guy, and when you talk about Wayne Gretzky and what he did for the sport, the kind of things that he accomplished, I mean, over 200 points in 3 straight seasons, 4 out of 5. I mean, you're never even going to see 200 points in a season again, but 92 goals was his peak in 81, 82, 87, and 83, 84. Still putting up over 100 assists. I mean, the guy was an absolute monster for a career. Obviously, the all-time leader in goals. Pretty sure also assists. A 520 plus minus for a career total for Wayne Gretzky. Just an absolute fucking monster. Nobody else comes close. I won't even give an honorable mention.
Luke, I have a feeling that your guy's rocking the same colors that your shirt is right now, rocking that black and gold. Give me the reason why. I want to hear the name that you're about to say for fucking hockey, buddy.
Yeah, I'm going to go Sidney Crosby of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, I mean, I don't watch too much hockey, but as long as I've been watching hockey, this dude's been playing most playoff points, most playoff assists, most playoff games, 3-time Stanley Cup winner. That's why I got him up there.
Yeah, and Doc, I'm sorry, dude. I got Sid the Kid as well. Man's a 2-time Hart Memorial Trophy winner, 2-time Conn Smith Trophy Award winner. I don't give a shit. He's got a lot of ESPYs for the best NHL player. That's by the way, us fans vote for that. That's who we think the GOAT is, by the way. The Maurice Rocket, Richard Trophy. The awards go on and on. The 2019 All-Star team fucking leader. The man's the GOAT. Fuck Wayne Gretzky. The man's a bitch.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky. I mean, 4-time Cup winner, 9-time Hart winner. How many Hart trophies did Sidney win?
Yeah, it must be nice back in the time where the hockey players weren't as good. It was like the Michael Jordan.
5 Bing trophies, 15-time All-Star, 10-time Ross winner, 5-time Pearson winner, 2-time Conn Smythe, and also the NHL 100th anniversary team. I don't care. Sidney Crosby is not even a pimple on Wayne Gretzky's ass.
Oh, he's a fucking mountain on that ass. Luke, we know it. We understand why Sid the Kid is the GOAT.
Yeah, I just
casual fans. Yeah. You just go to casual
his
fans.
Wikipedia page, and I can't even scroll through his fucking Wikipedia page. It's so deep.
Yeah, he's deep at Wayne Gretzky's ass because he is the GOAT, Doc. But let's move on because this is the worst sport. Worst sport of the 4 we're covering. Let's go to in my opinion, the third best sport in major sports. The NBA. Luke, give it to me. Who's the GOAT?
Yeah, I mean, this one's easy right here. It's going to be LeBron James. I mean,
God.
we've all watched him. He's won everywhere he's been. He's the leading I have to look at the stats. I honestly didn't look up any stats besides throwing LeBron James' name down. But so yeah, you guys can do
Yeah,
this one.
and I agree with him, Doc. I know you're going to go MJ, but I can give a little more of not analytics, but actual like view of the game. I didn't get to watch MJ play, so like I'm sorry, I just don't. I'm not going to pick MJ. The reason why is yes, I think if you're talking winner, that's the narrative I'm pushing. Is if you're pushing winner, yes, you can give MJ all that. He's 6-0 in the finals. That's great. Hell of a team. He had the greatest coach of all time, Phil Jackson. He had the two greatest duos of all time too. So he definitely found a way to win with both of them. But he had also one of the top 50 players of all time, Scottie Pippen. At the end of the Bulls era, he had one of the greatest enforcers in Dennis Rodman. Ron Harper wasn't a scrub neither. Steve Kerr wasn't great, but he hit big shots in the moments when he needed to. The reason why I go LeBron is because he put against better competition in his era than Jordan did in his era. I think LeBron is an overall player in the game, not just scoring. He's a better assister. He's a better rebounder. Yes, Jordan's got him on defense, but LeBron in his defensive days could play. We talked about it before the show. He sacrificed.
I understand
that
you're also
offense.
talking a 2 versus 3.
What do you mean, 2 versus 3? George,
A shooting guard, a 6'6" shooting guard versus 6'9" forward.
Yeah, that guards every position, and he's but being 6'9", he should be passing the ball at a higher level. Normally, your shorter guys pass the ball at a higher level.
LeBron's the one that's 6'9".
Well, yeah, but he passes the ball at a higher level than Jordan. So I mean, usually your point guards or your shooting guards.
Well, that's because LeBron had people that could score. LeBron didn't have to put the team on his back, and when he couldn't, because he frequently couldn't, he packed up and left town.
Hey, let me know when Jordan got to the finals. Had to. Hey, wait. Question was, when Jordan was there by himself, like LeBron was by himself in Cleveland before he left in his third year, did Jordan get to the finals, or did it take him 8 years?
I think it took him a little bit longer, but that's what happens when you fucking stay loyal to your team.
Oh, he did stay loyal. LeBron stayed loyal. He got to the finals in his third year, fourth year in the league with Cleveland, with his best player, Big Z.
How long did he play in Cleveland for?
Michael Jordan also didn't play his whole career on the Bulls either.
He played from 2010, then 2010. He was there for about 7-8 seasons, and then he went to Miami for 4 and came back. So the reason why he left Cleveland was because he was begging for help. Cleveland, we can all agree, Cleveland was a shit organization. They did not provide help. They thought Mo Williams was a key reason that LeBron would stay. Mo Williams wasn't that guy.
Don't shit on Mo.
I'm sorry, he wasn't that guy. When Jordan asked for help, they got him a coach. They got him Scottie Pippen, and they fucking built that Chicago Bulls, which rightfully so. That's what a great organization does. They do that shit. I think Jordan's a better winner. Yes, I mean his team won more, but I mean, I'm sorry. I just, if I'm thinking player, a guy I want on my team, I want LeBron before Jordan, because with LeBron, I think people are going to play with him, and then it's also going to get everyone else involved. It's the domino effect of having LeBron, where he's going to get everyone involved. It's not just one show and that's it.
Jordan's whole career was also not in the Bulls either. So the whole stay loyal thing doesn't work.
Yeah, he did have that 1 year in Washington.
He also had that 2-year stint in the minor league baseball associated with the Chicago White Sox. So, I mean, he retired twice on Chicago. He quit twice on the Chicago Bulls. Same amount of times LeBron did against the Cavaliers.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he was also under immense pressure playing for the Bulls. But for me, no, it's not even close. It's Jordan. It's Jordan. Everybody that knows a lick of basketball, anybody that has any kind of common sense knows that it's Jordan. The MVPs. And I'll tell you, LeBron's got longevity. I'll give you that. And, he also didn't retire twice. I'll give you that. But in LeBron significantly more seasons, Jordan still has more MVPs, still has more finals MVPs and titles, still has 9 more scoring titles, 3 less NBA All-NBA first team, which is expected given the amount of seasons played between the two of them. All defensive team, though, still goes to Jordan. All-Star games, again, slight edge to LeBron, but expected in the amount of seasons that he played over Jordan. I sent you the video. I gotta get a plug for it and get it put out there so that the listeners, we'll have to get like the link or something put in the bio so that the listeners can reference to it. A lot of really, really good information in there. That is solely, and it goes into a number of different metrics to break down who the GOAT is, and it's clear as day it is Jordan. It's not even up for debate to me. I'm not saying, I hate LeBron. I'm not gonna tell you LeBron's a shitty basketball player. I fucking hate LeBron, but he is a good basketball player. But he is. I got him. I got him around. It's a toss. I'm back and forth on number 2 and 3 between him and Kobe.
Yeah, and Rizlov, our guy that started this conversation, I believe has got Kobe at number 1. Doc, the one last point I want to make about MJ and LeBron is I understand when you make a finals, yeah, that team's got to be good. But if you look at the level of competition in the finals, where Jordan's greatest team he played against, where you can make an argument it was against the Lakers, where was it Worthy was hurt, Kareem was old, and Magic was young, or Magic was about to retire because of his situation he had. Or you can make a case it was the aging Utah Jazz with John Stockton and Karl Malone. I don't think he ever played against a guy that had Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Iggy, and Draymond Green, 5 future Hall of Famers on one team. I just think the level of competition that he played against Durant 3 times in the finals. You forgot the other year as well, and the early stage with Westbrook, a good Westbrook, and a young James Harden. I just feel like the level of competition, I think the only true shit team which I don't think we're shit, but he beat us in the bubble. We didn't have any true stars besides Jimmy Butler. So, that's the one team where I think LeBron played that wasn't full of talent. So I just think that's the difference is the level of competition in the 90s wasn't there like it is in this era. The players are way more athletic. They're freakishly bigger, way stronger. I don't care about that whole week. Includes the clothesline you out of there. Those guys were still bitching for calls too back in the day. So same shit, just different story.
Yeah, they were still bitching for calls, but they played defense. Yeah, I mean the guys now are definitely bigger, faster. It's 2 completely different eras, which is probably what makes the most challenging part of the argument. But to say that Jordan didn't face talent back in the day, I mean, what because they're not headline names, because you didn't watch basketball in the '90s, so you don't know who everybody was. I mean, I got to go back and look at the seasons that you're talking about specifically, and see this aging Karl Malone and the numbers that he put up that season. But
they were old. They were old. They were older players. They weren't at their prime. They were falling out. But who else?
Okay, and older back then is if he's still putting up numbers, who gives a shit about age? Age ain't nothing but a number if you're still producing. But either way, I mean, yeah, the different style of play is probably the hardest thing to decipher as far as which way you went. But you can't make the argument that they didn't have superstars on that team. I mean, this is a time that you didn't watch basketball, so you don't know who half those names even are. I'm watching the game yesterday, and they're like, all-time leading scorer for the Nuggets. Now, who the fuck is that? I didn't know half the guys they were talking about got retired numbers. Yeah, because we didn't watch them back then. You know what I'm saying? So you don't know.
The Nuggets franchise isn't historically good, but Doc, defense is not clotheslining someone and tackling them in midair. This isn't football. This is basketball. So that whole bullshit they play defense back then.
It's not clotheslining, goddammit. It's bodying up.
Yeah. So based on the rules back in the 90s, those should have been fouls. So that's the ref's fault for not blowing the whistle. So, I mean, that's not defense.
Let the boys play.
That's playing football.
Let the boys play.
Luke.
Let them play.
MLB, Luke. I know you're not a big baseball guy. You're an Orioles fan. Who do you have as the MLB GOAT?
Yeah, I'm going to go Cal Ripken Jr. here. It's Iron Man right there. Nobody's going to break his record. Longest amount of, unbroken streak of amount of games played this season.
Yeah, fuck you, Luke. He's not even the best shortstop. Yeah, he's not even the best shortstop.
I take a switch up. I want an Orioles player. Cal Ripken Jr. Nobody's going to beat his record. He's a GOAT. If you can play every game, guess what? Play every single game. Guess what? You can't lose.
Are you talking about what year? What year was that?
Hold on, let me look it up.
I was like, well, that was the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, let me know. 2000s. Let me know how many. Let me know what season he played 162 games.
Let's see.
I mean, I'll give it to him. Playing that many games in a row, though,
it's Iron Man right there.
It's dynamic. But I was gonna rip whoever you had. I was gonna
go Babe Ruth, honestly.
And I was gonna rip you for that one too, because Babe Ruth in this era of baseball couldn't fucking play the game. He could not hit off-speed pitches.
Babe Ruth, though. Babe Ruth is the fucking legend.
No, I love Babe Ruth because he's a Yankee, but he just could not compete in this era like he did back then. Fastballs only was the thing back in that day. I don't know if he was hitting these curveballs and knuckleballs and splitters and sliders like he did at that high of a level. And fuck that, he's not even the best Yankee of all time. So Derek Jeter's the best shortstop of all time and the best Yankee of all time. Not the GOAT, but he's better than Cal Ripken.
No.
Yeah, no, I got to agree with that. Really, the only thing that Cal Ripken had was that active. I think it was like 12 seasons or something that he played every single game.
Phenomenal.
He's also 19-time All-Star, World Series champion, 2-time AL MVP, Rookie of the Year, 2-time Golden Glove.
Ooh.
So he's got some stats behind him.
Hey,
All right,
So
he's got
plays
some hardware. He got
Jeter's
some
some
hardware.
hardware behind him.
Jeter's got more Gold Gloves, less MVPs. Doesn't have one. He's a 5-time
Not
champion.
as many consecutive games played. Jeter also fucking doing steroids too.
Jeter was not on steroids. I think out of anyone in that steroid era, Jeter was one of the guys that was not on steroids.
The Yankees are all doing steroids.
No, I'll give you Sheffield and I'll give you A-Rod and Giambi, but I'm not giving you Derek Jeter.
Just because they opened up to it. That's the only reason you're taking those out.
You can tell if the guy's taking steroids. Jeter never had the body
Jeter
frame
wasn't.
to
Jeter never took steroids. Yeah,
Jeter wasn't a power hitter.
Jeter would have hit a hell of a lot
more
more home runs.
Jeter was one of the clutchest playoff hitters of all time. Obviously, nicknamed Mr. November, but not my GOAT, Doc. My GOAT is Ken Griffey Jr. or Barry Bonds. I can't pick. I understand the man took steroids, but before steroids, the dude had a Hall of Fame career. Before the steroid era that started showing he was on that steroid peak, he was a Hall of Famer in Pittsburgh. He was a Hall of Famer in his early career with San Francisco. He was one of the best hitters in baseball without steroids. The steroids just helped him get bigger, faster, stronger, at a higher level, at a faster pace. Helped him also stay healthier. That's why guys at his age were doing it, like Roger Clemens, who was a better pitcher. Roger Clemens was the better pitcher before steroids. But I go Ken Griffey as well because if Griffey didn't get hurt, I believe he'd have been the home run king. He's one of the best defenders out there in the outfield as well. Fucking 10 Gold Gloves. It's one of the smoothest swings in baseball we've ever seen. So I go Ken Griffey or Barry Bonds. Doc, I know you had two as well.
Yeah, I got two as well. And no, because Barry Bonds tarnished the game the way that he did, I don't even have him in my top 1,000 for greatest baseball players of all time. I don't even know if I have him in my top 10,000. Barry Bonds is a piece of shit. I can't say that, actually, because everybody literally did it. But Barry Bonds, honestly, because of how he did it, I'm not putting him anywhere near being the greatest baseball player of all time. But no, my GOAT, I am going with two. I'm going one on both sides of the ball. My hitter is going to be Ken Griffey Jr., just one of the most energetic, electrifying players to watch. Did things that, in a way, in such a quickness that we haven't seen in so long. 630 career home runs. Let me see here. Let me pull this back up. What was his overall? I think he had like a 284 career average, but early on in his career, the first... Where the hell?
Yeah, I mean, his batting average took a hit when he got to his fatter days, and that happens with longevity. We understand that.
Yeah, and he had a rough string between like 2001, 2004 of a lot of injury-prone seasons that really cut him down. But when you look at a guy, 22 years in the league, with the injury problems that he faced and still putting up 630 home runs, I mean, if he played full seasons like so many other people did, he hands down would have been number one over Barry Bonds. I mean, he was so close to doing it. That's 4 more years of healthy ball. Even the year before that, 111, 72 games in 95, 111 in 94. I mean, if the injuries were cut down, this guy is easily the home run champion. And then my other GOAT that I'm going with, this one's going to be on the pitching side of the ball. I am going with one of my favorite players ever to watch play the game. Again, energetic and electrifying. Pedro Martinez, former Montreal, Boston great. Had a string of 7 seasons of ERAs below 2.4. Career ERA of 2.93. Only 219 wins. But again, he had a couple issues later on in his career. Staying healthy and throwing the ball, but just a phenomenal baseball player. One of the guys greatest to ever do it.
All I have to say about that is, who's your daddy? I mean, fucking Yankees own that motherfucker, dude. Fuck Pedro. I think he's a great, but I ain't saying he's a GOAT. Can't do it. Not with Randy Johnson out there and Nolan Ryan. So
quick stat right here. So Ken Griffey Jr. consecutive games of 2,632. I mean, that is fucking ridiculous. The only player even relatively close to him was Lou Gehrig. You all know what happened to him. But besides that, no player is even close to 1,000 games to him.
Yeah,
So
Luke
that
Gehrig
is the
had,
Iron Man.
yeah. Luke
Luke
Gehrig
Gehrig
had
had
the
a lot.
record.
He was close.
By the way, Luke Gehrig's better than Cal Ripken Jr. as well.
No, he was 500 games away.
The thing was, is if Luke Gehrig doesn't die at an early age, we're talking Ken Griffey being home run king. At the time when Babe Ruth had the record, Luke Gehrig was potentially going to have more home runs than Babe Ruth.
Hey, talking about longevity, it's all about take care of your body. Luke Gehrig got to take care of your body a little better.
Well, I mean, he was taking care of his body. He just had a disease. That's a little different there.
Hey, take care of your body.
Let's move on. Well, I'm going to say it real quick. My GOAT of golf, I know we're not going to talk about it, is Tiger Woods. Just want to say that. I wear his hat literally everywhere I go. GOAT of golf is Tiger. Doc, I want to hear your NFL GOAT.
This one shouldn't be a question.
Doc, you thinking? I know you have that mute button on. Just
you guys go first. You guys go first.
I'll go first. I'll take it. I'm going to go Peyton Manning.
Shit.
I do think, yes, people are going to say, oh, Tom Brady's got the most Super Bowls, and I get it. You know,
Tom Brady's got the most everything.
God bless him. He's got the records, too. He played the longevity. It took him a lot longer. So, like, if we're saying, like, LeBron and MJ, don't know how the race was with LeBron getting those records compared to MJ and all those guys, but it took Tom a lot longer than guys like Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Brett Favre to get those records. And if I'm looking at a quarterback that I want, the guy that's going to dissect the game, arm strength, arm accuracy, the way that he calls audibles, I'm going Peyton. I think Peyton's IQ of the game is at the highest IQ of football. He's one of the smartest players, obviously, which we're talking about. He's also one of the most accurate quarterbacks. Yes, did he have a little more weapons than Tom Brady? Yeah, he did. But Tom Brady had a top 10 defense every year he won a Super Bowl. He had arguably the top 2 coach of all time with Bill Belichick. You could argue that the coach, Bill Walsh from the 49ers, is number 1. Those two will be 1 or 2. Also had a top 5, top 10 offensive line every single year he won a Super Bowl as well. So I'm sorry. I'll give him respect for going to Tampa winning a Super Bowl, but they were already a quarterback away. They already had the weapons there. Yes, they did add Gronk and AB and playoff Lenny, but
I think the purpose is to talk about who the GOAT is, not why somebody is not.
Well,
you're writing the resume for Brady here.
You just made my argument already. All right,
so it's only based on
Tom Brady's without a question.
So a ring's more because that's the narrative you push with. You said LeBron's not the GOAT or LeBron's the GOAT, but the narrative with that one wasn't rings. So like that's the problem I had with GOAT talk.
What's another thing? Wins, most wins, Tom Brady. Most career passing attempts, Tom Brady.
Most interceptions,
most completions, most touchdowns,
most interceptions.
It doesn't matter.
The thing is, when I think Tom Brady, the thing is when I think Tom Brady, Doc, I think his last game in New England was a pick 6, and his last game in Tampa, I believe, was an interception as well.
What was Brady's first season?
Not a Super Bowl. He won.
No, here's my thing. Here's my thing as far as Tom Brady. Hey, relax. Here's my thing.
Game manager. He won.
Here's my thing. Y'all shut the fuck up. God damn. You talk about the GOAT between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. I've got to look at the playoffs between the two. Took Peyton Manning a long time to get past Tom Brady in the playoffs. So that's ultimately what drives it for me. If you want to stack those two up, I'm putting Brady higher than Manning.
The question, though, is the GOAT a quarterback? Because, like, these other positions like receiver and defensive players. And
it ain't mine and what I picked.
Is Brady the GOAT in yours, or did you pick somebody else?
Nope. I didn't even pick quarterback.
Who'd you go, Doc?
I went with the legend Jerry Rice, 49er, played in Oakland, Seattle, 13 Pro Bowl selections, 1,500 career receptions, over 1,500, over almost 23,000 receiving yards, 197 touchdowns, even 10 rushing touchdowns for you. But 3 Super Bowls and 4 appearances. Led the league in receptions, yards, touchdowns 6 times. I look at what a single guy can do for a team, and more times than not, it is a quarterback. We all know what the quarterback is capable of. The quarterback is the backbone of the team, but what Jerry Rice was able to do as a receiver like nobody else has been able to do, still holds the record for most receiving yards. the impact that he had on a team as a wide receiver, you can't discount that. I think that holds so much more value than the quarterback, because we've seen Tom Brady do it with no receivers, which is awesome. We've seen him do it with a full rotation. You know what I'm saying? But Jerry Rice came in and just dominated as a receiver his entire career.
And if we're going opposite of quarterback, like I like that, Doc. I like this to pick that because obviously people are going to pick quarterback most of the time. I'm going to go prime time. I think the greatest corner that this game's ever seen. He locked down everybody. He changed 2 franchises, one the Dallas Cowboys that kind of completed that dynasty they had, and obviously turned around the 49ers when he went there when Steve Young was a starting quarterback. And yes, they had Jerry Rice as well, but Jerry won it prime there because he was tired of going against them, and when he was a Dallas Cowboy. I think Jerry Rice is the greatest player that's not a quarterback. And, I mean, he's shut down all the top wide receivers. Obviously, yeah, he got some bad games against Jerry, but those guys went back and forth against each other. And I just think it's prime time ultimately. Luke, it looked like you had something to say. I was queuing up for you. I thought you were going to cut it and probably say Ray Lewis or some shit.
No, I mean, we're talking defense. Ray Lewis or Ed Reed, fucking studs the defensive position, change the franchise in Baltimore, really making that fucking defensive team up in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean,
that defense won the Super Bowl for them in 2000 as well.
Well, Ed Reed wasn't part of that team, but yeah,
Ray Lewis was though.
Yeah, I don't think Ed Reed's the greatest. I think he's arguably the greatest safety position. I don't think he's the greatest defensive player. I do think, yes, you can make an argument for Ray Lewis. I love Ray Lewis. I think he's one of the top linebackers, if not the top linebacker in the NFL history.
It's between him and Urlacher, however you want to argue it.
But you can go Lawrence Taylor, too, who's considered a linebacker.
Overall, no, I still think Ray Lewis got him beat by far.
The only thing with Lawrence Taylor is he's one of the most dominant pass rushers, and he's an MVP, league MVP, and he's got two Super Bowl rings, just like Ray Lewis.
Lawrence Taylor, he was almost a defensive lineman.
Well, yeah, that's the whole pass rusher outside linebacker. Yeah.
Maybe we just got to do a segment with a GOAT for each position, because I also want to talk about my man in the running back game, Walter Payton, because I'm kind of torn. I mean, Jerry Rice I went with to kind of try and be different and think where nobody really does, because the wide receivers as a career really don't get much credit, but Walter Payton definitely up there as a GOAT as well.
Ain't nobody run like OJ.
No one runs like Barry.
Ain't nobody drives like OJ.
Yeah, no one drives like OJ. Yeah. Barry was the best. Barry was the best running back.
Nobody run like OJ. And OJ's best runner.
Barry gifted Emmitt Smith that rushing record. Barry had that record for a while, and he played way less seasons. He was the hardest running back to tackle in football.
Barry had what running record?
He had the rushing record, and then Emmitt took it from him, but it took Emmitt a few years.
When did Barry have the rushing record?
He's number 2.
Are you sure about that?
He would have had the record if he didn't retire.
You sure about that? Who's number 2, Mark?
Might be Walter then, but he also didn't play nearly as long. He's right behind Walter then at number 3. So, and he was literally the whole thing in Detroit. There was no defense in Detroit. There was nothing. It was Barry Sanders and Barry Sanders only. So, I mean, you can say, I mean, I love Walter. I mean, I think Walter's one of the greatest players in the game's history. I just don't think Emmitt Smith's number 1 for running back. I mean, we can make an argument for Walter or Barry any day.
No, I have Walter over Emmitt Smith, even though Emmitt Smith is the all-time rushing leader.
Yes, to me, sometimes stats can be misleading. It just depends.
Well, it's like LeBron being the all-time leader in points. He just played longer.
Well, Barry chose to retire because he got abused in Detroit. Like, it wasn't – I mean, he still had fucking like 6-7 more years in his career. I mean, back then the running back went on way longer than they do now. So,
well, yeah, Walter did as well. He got sick.
Yeah, well, Barry just – it's like Megatron. He got abused, and he said, I'm done. I can't do Detroit no more. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't blame him.
Megatron probably going to be the best overall ever. I've never seen 2 cornerbacks line up on the line on a receiver besides Megatron. No.
Sorry, I just
that picture of him against the Saints where 2 receivers are lined up on the line against him.
That's fine. Randy Moss used to do that, the same thing that Megatron did it earlier at a different time frame. And I think T.O. is a better receiver than Randy Moss. I think T.O.'s records are actually – the stats are identical to Randy with 1 less season played. So, I mean, T.O. was a cancer to his teams. T.O. was a fucking blocker, and he could run every route in the tree that you gave to him. Wasn't like
T.O. was a
Raymond, where it
monster. He absolutely was a cancer.
I know. Put Megatron on a different team though. What happens? Megatron was a freak.
Well, we won't know that because he never left Detroit. He just quit.
Yeah,
that don't make you the GOAT. I mean,
he could have been.
Could have been. I mean, if you accomplish something in your short time, you've got the argument. But if you didn't accomplish nothing in that short time, and you just gave up,
he did. I mean, I haven't looked up his accomplishments, but the way he was feared by cornerbacks was different than other players.
The problem with me is that they allowed him in as a first ballot Hall of Famer, and guys like T.O., Chris Carter, Sterling Sharp, who is not in the Hall of Fame, that balled out in Green Bay, had to retire early because of neck injuries, who was a top receiver in the 90s, that everyone says he was one of the most feared receivers in the 90s, aren't in or had to wait. You made T.O. wait 3 tries, who has the stats. He has the fucking Super Bowl appearance. I mean, the man's a monster. But the guy like him, Chris Carter, same thing. We made Chris Carter one of the best hands of all time. Wait, I'm sorry. Like, man's not even the top 25 in stats. Like, you just can't. You can't do that. And then you made guys like Sherrell Davis wait, who was a Super Bowl MVP. So
Hall of Fame's a popularity contest for the NFL at this point.
Exactly. But hey, boys, we are gonna wrap this up. Like I said, we're gonna have plenty of GOAT talk as we do this show. It's always gonna get brought up. It's just the way it is. But from the All About the Balls podcast, Chris, we miss you. We'll get you in on Thursday.
Miss you, Chris.
Doc, it was great to hear your voice. Great to hear your takes, too. You had some good ones tonight. We didn't agree with it, but great takes. Way to try hard. Luke, man, good to have you in here again. Good to make sure you made through this episode with those margaritas. But I'm Mark Davis. That is Luke Brule. That is Nick the Doc Skirkwins. Shout out to Chris. We'll get him back Thursday. This is All About the Balls podcast, and we are out. Thank you for checking out another episode of All About the Balls podcast. We want to thank all of our listeners and supporters of the Sack House. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at the Sack House.